Bylo prevedení.
Tak dobrý večer, vítajte všetci na ďalšom z blockchain meetupov. Dneska sa budeme teda venovať blockchainu a virtuálnej realite. Som rád, že tu dneska môžeme privítať váženého hostia z firmy Somnium Space, Vítor. Vítaj, Vít. No a vzhľadom na to, že máme teda v obecenstve aj neslovenských hovoriacich ľudí, tak to budeme mať v angličtine teda. Takže toľko asi na začiatok. A teda hej, že aj možno nie všetci Slováci sú plynuli v češtine, tak, tak tá angličtina je taký dobrý common ground. Takže Vítek, floor is yours.
Thanks for having me. So I'm Vita from Somnium Space. We're building a virtual reality world, social and very open. And this is how we started it, and this is how we came to the idea, or why we think this is the future for humankind and all the interactions. So we can go back to 1999. I don't know how many people remember that, but there was a game called Ultima Online, and this is probably one of the best examples and earliest examples how digital goods were gaining value or started to have a value, because a lot of people were basically spending hours in the game and digging for items and exchanging items. And this came to a point where people even spent like thousands for a spot where they can place their virtual house. And there were a lot of items exchanged, like from swords, cloaks, for several $100s. And this was the first laying ground that basically digitalized items can have a real world value, because you can play with it, you can exchange it, and you can do something with it. The game still exists. There are over thousands of shards in the world, and people play it, and still the economy is thriving. And the graphics, as you can see, was very simple. It was like a 2D kind of view with a little 3D mix. It was chatting and little voice, but it's basically it. And obviously, like the idea was to have a world that's like ours. So fast forward 4 years, Second Life came out. This was again the same idea, basically people gathering in virtual worlds and socializing, building economies, and basically either having a good time or just exchanging some products, some services, all digital. So this world, even in 2018, had a $500 million turnover in real dollars, which is amazing. Basically, people were exchanging digital clothes, all digital items, and creating them, selling them to other people. Still active users, around 1 million 2 years ago, and there's a stat that $60 million were made from users. There were like 100 users that were making more than $10,000 a month in 2008, I think. So this was again a next step to the virtual reality, or the virtual reality that we are building. But it was steps by steps, right? It was started with 2D, with Ultima, and kind of a 3D view in Second Life. So as I'm saying, what's next? So this is our in-game view. Basically, this is what you can see when you join iWorld. You need obviously virtual reality headset from the biggest makers. They're fine. We work with everyone. And so this is how we're building the future. We believe in a true virtual reality metaverse, basically a world where you can dive in and experience everything you can experience right now. People are asking us what we think the biggest competitor of ours is. It's not like the other projects. It's basically real life, because everything you can do in real life you can replicate in our world. And we approach it in a way where basically the graphics must be really great looking, and it's a persistent world. So a lot of games are separated into small scenes, so small sequences. Our vision is like a 5 by 5 kilometer square piece of land with lakes and mountains. And again, this is not CGI. This is all in-world views. And so you're in the world. So what's next? We believe that people need to create in order to stay there and to enjoy their freedom of creativity and economy and entertainment. So once you buy a piece of land, we believe also in the ownership of virtual land, obviously. So you can buy a piece of land for real money, and this is also something very controversial. But then on the piece of land, you can build anything you want. So either if you're a company, you can build your store presence. You can sell services or digital goods. You can even sell real goods, because I'll show you a video with a Tesla store. You can basically order a physical item in virtual reality. You can change colors, change the sizes, then order it and it goes home. Or you can provide services. You can sell concert tickets. We have concerts in our world, basically singers singing, and then you can charge people real money. Or just like for entertainment, for meeting your family, and you can build a house. Your family is spread all across the world. You say, okay, at 7 p.m. Central European time, we all meet in this room. Then they meet, and they can recreate like a room from their grandmother's house, put textures on the house, and then they can experience what it was in their childhood. Okay, now this is why we're all here. At some point, all the previous projects, basically when you buy a digital good, digital item, it belongs to the gaming company. It's not yours. Once with the blockchain, this was a game changer for the whole industry, because the ownership of the item then goes to your wallet and to your hand. Okay, so this is how we think this will all turn out. This is not just about our VR world, but all the gaming companies like Fortnite, and at some point eventually they will have to go and put all their assets on the blockchain, because otherwise they will have no value. Because right now people spend hundreds or thousands of dollars for something that has value for them at the moment, because for the entertainment. But once they get banned from the company or they lose interest, it's basically worthless. Once it's on the blockchain, it can be traded on open markets like OpenSea. They can go back and change it for real money and share it with others. So this is how we do it, basically. We put the ownership of the item on the Ethereum network. We have all the parcels and items are tokenized, and then the ownership is in your wallet and not with the evil gaming company as shown there. So this is a short video how you can use NFTs in virtual reality. It's like CryptoKitty, and we have a script that basically makes out of a 2D picture and makes a 3D object. And then basically your 2D CryptoKitty on the blockchain is yours, and it goes to life in our script. And this will happen in the future, basically, or can happen to every digital item. It's just simple. Yeah, so that's the idea, basically. Once it's on the blockchain, then everything can be recreated in virtual reality. That's why digital items can gain value, because they bring you value in the world or in the game. Okay, so this is also what kind of differentiates us from others. The world is persistent. As I said, it's 5 by 5 square kilometers, so if you walk, it takes you 20 minutes to go from one side to the other side. And this is to feel basically the persistence and the time that you spend in the virtual world. Okay, so this is our map. We have 5,000 parcels. 1,000 are already sold out. We were selling them on OpenSea and on 2 crowdfunding campaigns, and we sold something around $400,000 of virtual land. Obviously, like the most expensive ones were around the lake or on the islands. The highest price was $1,800 for one parcel on one of the islands in the middle. Yeah, that's our Somnium waypoint. Basically, we also we don't let the users all do the contents. We also do a lot of content and provide concerts, and so they have fun in our world. So this is something what we have. We have from apartments that you can rent. If you don't buy, you want to try it out, you can rent a space, go there with your friends, hang around. We have a planetarium where you can watch stars and educate yourself, and it's also like an example for universities that already bought parcels in our world that they can do classes and educate other people. We have a shopping mall with stores, again, to showcase the e-commerce possibilities of virtual reality. And then also an arcade hall where you can bowl with your friends and have fun. So it's basically from education to commerce to entertainment, everything.
Welcome to Somnium Space Planetarium. You are about to witness amazing wonders of our universe inside virtual reality. Sit back, relax, and enjoy this unforgettable journey brought to you exclusively by Somnium Space Studios.
Yeah, so this is already live. So basically this is to showcase the power of VR. I mean, we're talking here mostly like about blockchain, but VR really brings you the emotions that no other technology gave you before. It was made big when you started like inputs. The mouse was a big changer, but now with the virtual headset with the controllers basically makes technologically as live as everyone wished before. And that's why when you go to our planetarium and experience the stars, it gives you an educational value and an experience full of emotions that you never could have with a computer. Okay, this is some of our past concerts that we had. We also do like political talks. We have cinema nights, live concerts where 50 people from all over the world join us, and then a singer sings in Spain, like Curse Moonlight, for example, and then 50 people from all over the world were watching and cheering and experiencing sunsets, sunrises. Just amazing. Also, we had a bowling tournament for real money. It's also a lot of fun. So this is how it works. Basically, you can buy a small, medium, or large parcel, and you can build your desired objects or experiences on it. This is how the land sale was going when we had it. So as I said, basically the islands were gone quickly because you can also like swim in the water, you can kayak, you can fish. Around the mountains you can go tenting, and it's all in VR, very immersive. Those parcels, if you have some next to each other, you can connect them, so all the big lots can be used for big entertainment events. Okay, this is our current map, and again, this are one of our views from the beach. So this is the beach. Again, no CGI. This is an in-game picture. You can go in the water, take a swim or kayak to your friend's house who is on the island. There are no textures also in the sky. It's all active, and you can see the sunrise and sunsets, which is amazing. Like we're having our weekly events, like on Saturday and Wednesday. We go on the top of the mountain and you can watch the sunrise and sunset. Everything in VR. This is another picture from a hill close to my parcel. And this is our floating island. The plan for the floating islands is to have art galleries also for NFT tokens. Like we have a partnership with Known Origin, so they'll be very happy to show some of their items in a gallery, in a digital gallery. Next thing is teleportation. So how do you walk in the world, or how do you get across? So either you do it with the controllers, or you have teleports built that you can buy, also like, and earn money with them, because every time someone joins the teleport and teleports themselves to another venue, you get a fee, and each has to pay something. And also one of those teleports we were selling on OpenSea, and they were going for around from $500 to $1,000, because people can see the value in the teleportation for the future. And also talking about the metaverse, there are there's some projects in VR that are also doing something similar. They're not persistent, or they like the blockchain ownership of digital items, but still we want to cooperate with them. So this teleport can bring you basically from our world to another world, which is kind of a competitor, but we all won't work together because the space is so small, and the experiences are basically also good in other places and other worlds. You can compare it like going from Spain to Slovakia. And this is how it works. It's in partnership with AdMix, which is a VR advertisement company. It's again in world view, and it's going to high fidelity. It's the project from Philip Rosedale, who invented Second Life. He also has a VR world. So basically, without taking the headset off, you can go from one world to another in a nice animation, a nice tunnel. So let's say we have a concert at 7 p.m. in high fidelity, there's a concert at 8 p.m. You watch ours, and you go to the teleport, and you go to theirs. This is something we totally are up for. And also this is kind of the vision of Ready Player One. Let's say like this huge metaverse where everyone can spend a couple hours in virtual reality, from educating himself or herself and to entertainment. So those are some of our current partners. The VRBA is the Virtual Reality Blockchain Alliance, basically, and that's with High Fidelity and Genus VR. And also the idea of the teleport is and of the tokenization of digital items. Like let's say you tokenize an avatar, and then you can bring your avatar from one world to another world. So if you look like I don't know, like me, like with the scanning technique in Somnium Space, then you go to the tunnel, and then in High Fidelity, a totally different company, you can appear as yourself, looking as yourself in High Fidelity, because the token will view it as the same. So with Sony, we have this cooperation where you can scan your faces and then put them on the avatar. So it's like a 5-minute job at home. You don't have to go to some fancy scanning location and then do it for a lot of money. And then from the e-commerce side, we have Pimax VR as a partner. They're selling headsets, and then you can go basically to our shopping mall and then try the headset, look at it, and order it from the CVT or from the store, or watch a review on TV. That's the scanning of the avatars, or of yourself, and then put it into avatar. So scan it, your friend scans it in a couple minutes, and then you can import it to our system. and then you look like you in virtual reality. And this is like really the beginnings and early days, but it shows what powers are possible once the technology catches up, even the headsets, the hardware. Because software-wise, we're already there, but the hardware needs to be a little better. But this were just like some first prototypes, and then basically you are you in virtual reality. You can take selfies and then send it to your friends. And this is in our shopping mall. You could see the Tesla on the right, which you also can play with and then order it if you have enough money. Okay, so this is what we think. It's still very early for virtual reality and also for the blockchain ecosystem, but the real metaverse is really close because a lot of people are working on it and we're really working on it hard. And basically the vision of a Ready Player One world is very getting closer and closer. And even now you can have really great experiences in virtual reality because this year was the first year where headsets are bought without wires. Oculus Quest is one of those. So you can experience it without having a high-end computer, and you can just put it on your head and start immediately. The price level is also it's getting better. It's around $400 right now, and available for everyone. And this is the most important thing, is the economy in virtual worlds. It has been proven that it's working. It was working in 1999, it was working in 2003, it's working now with Fortnite. People are spending money for digital items. But the idea of owning digital items and monetizing on your land is very new. Basically, that the company is not the owner of the digital items, but you yourself. This is very new. That's why we also 100% dedicated to build the best social VR experience. So this was our land sale. We had an OpenSea last 2 months ago already, and we partnered also with Loom. That's the second layer network. Basically, people that are not from the industry or look at blockchain as being too slow and too expensive. There are a lot of solutions for that, especially for gaming, like Loom and Engine, those second layers. So this is a thing that can eliminate the speed and money issues. And this is again some in-world pictures from our world. This is also the first version. We have a big update coming in a couple of weeks for Somnium 2. It's the Tesla store, where you can order a Tesla, look at the 3D model, and then buy it for real life. It's a bowling alley, you can play real bowling, virtual real bowling. And we're available on all platforms, even on iOS, even that they don't support VR. Okay. All right, that's it. I hope you liked it. I'm happy to hear some questions or comments.
If there are questions, raise your hand. Okay. I also have a few, but.
How are you using Loom network for your ecosystem?
It's for the second layer, so okay. It's our second layer ecosystem, so basically the in-game transactions will be on the Loom network, and the users will not have to pay the fees for the transactions right now. It will be on our side, and it will be immediate.
Aren't you concerned about security of Loom right now? Because right now Loom network's security is basically their market cap. So like Loom validators have like tokens staked, and these tokens are in aggregate value of $20 million. So theoretically, if there are transactions on the Loom network which are more valuable than the aggregate network value of Loom, you may have incentives for validators to actually start either double spending those transactions or kind of steal the assets on Loom network, because even though they are losing their stake, they are still gaining more from this action. So don't you think Loom is not secure enough for like economies which have $500 million?
That's a good question. The beauty of us being a startup is that we can switch providers quickly, and right now it's about the users. We have 25,000 downloads, 500 users that are very active. This is the core community. So once we see any issues with Loom, we can switch like to Engine or other service providers. But right now we're in touch with the team and we're monitoring it closely, but are ready to go with a provider that is more secure.
Any more questions? If no, I have a question. So,
what's like difference between you and Decentraland?
So we monitored Decentraland from the day they basically did their ICO, or even before, because we started as a VR company in 2017 and incorporated blockchain technology only this year. But we were following it for since ever we started, even before. And this year it started to make sense because there were providers like OpenSea, where you can trade digital items, Loom or other engine like the second layer providers. So he said, okay, now it's the time to do it. It makes sense. It's the ownership for the people. We didn't do an ICO in dozens of millions of dollars, and then basically we didn't get the money up front. We started as a real startup with friends and family raising and seed funding. So we were developing VR, because we are a virtual reality company first. Decentraland, they raised a lot of money on the promise that they will build a virtual reality world, which they did not do yet in VR. They're having some good progress on the website, because you can now build and develop and create. And we hope they will be successful, because a lot of people spend a lot of money on the Mana token and Plan token. So we hope they will develop a nice VR, and we hope they will do it, and we can partner to a big metaverse like we're doing with other VR worlds. But to go back to the question, basically we are already virtual reality, and this is what we were building, and they're still not yet.
Okay, so I have a question. I'm not a game player or something. What do I need to start? I mean, I have just MacBook. Do I need to buy PlayStation, or what do I need to get into this? Because I visited your website and I don't know really what equipment I need.
So I would recommend to buy Oculus Quest. It's a headset from Facebook. It's around 400 euros. It's wireless. You don't need a computer. It's all basically in the headset. It has 6 degrees of freedom, so you can basically catch every movement up, down, to the sides, front, and far. And with the MacBook, we right now have a version for the MacBook, but it's only to view and to build. Basically, because Apple computers, they don't support virtual reality yet, but the Oculus Quest will do it. That will be the best entry.
And what about the wallets and all this kind of stuff?
Okay, we're working with OpenSea, so if you want to buy a piece of land, virtual land or another digital item, you go to OpenSea.io, and then you use a MetaMask. It's a Ethereum. We buy it for Ethereum or our Somnium coins, and then you can basically dive in.
Hi. How many people are working in your company?
So we're between 10 and 15 people. Depends on how much projects we have currently running. So like 10 is the core. We can scale up to 15 if we want to deliver something really, really quick.
The development.
It's it's the whole team from developers, graphic designers to the management, everyone, finance. It's and we try to outsource as much as possible, so you don't have to. You can be flexible.
So the digital assets are like on the blockchain, decentralized. But what about the VR world, the actual like digital game? Is it also somehow decentralized or at least open enough? Or if you shut down the game, I will have, let's say, some kind of land tokens, but I won't be able to use them anymore?
So without talking around it, yes, it's very centralized because this is it's our idea, and we want to put the vision how we have it and program it how we want it. But on the other hand, that's why we're building the whole metaverse, right? Because if you allowed to transfer, let's say, your avatar between 3 worlds already, then once we, I don't know, go bankrupt or whatever, you can still use it in the 2 other worlds, which are different companies. So I think the idea for 10, 20 years out is basically you own the item and it's yours, and even if other projects go down, you still can use them in other worlds.
In this question, do you think in the future the game companies, they will work with these tokens like standard? They standardize and.
I think big gaming companies like the AAA studios that don't do it as soon as possible, like in the next year or 2 latest, they will have huge problems because there are a lot of games like now on the blockchain, even they're like very 2D, very simple, but it's about the ownership of the item. I mean, if you spend $200 at Fortnite for some skins and then you get bored after a month, then it's money thrown away. If it's yours and you can trade it, like not very transparently and openly, then it makes sense. So gaming companies that will not implement this soon will have problems. That's what I think.
So I wonder about the teleport mechanics. You said you are selling teleport devices. However, I know that in VR you are moving around the world by teleporting with your controller, right? So why is this teleport valuable when you can teleport even without it, or if you can do it? And also I'm wondering if someone else, not from your company, will program some kind of token which will also allow for teleportation, if you will allow this outside item to be used in your ecosystem, or if you want to be the gatekeeper of new items being introduced.
So regarding the teleports, we have a limit how far you can go in virtual reality, so you don't break the immersiveness. So you cannot teleport yourself 1 kilometer within a second. So it will take you 40 minutes to go from one side from the city or the area to another one, and the teleport brings you there. There's a teleport station in the south corner and in the north corner. So you go there. You pay, I don't know, 1 cent, 5 cents, and then you're immediately in the other corner. As for the imports of other items, that's where we are really open. We will check the items so they don't break our content policy rules of, graphic, violence, etc. But we want developers to allow to import any item they create through the Unity SDK or through our store. So you can even some scripts or digital items, from teleports to cars to avatars. That's the idea. That's what we want to do, because this is how the economy will survive and how it will strive.
That would be my question also. So let's say I have some crazy NFT project of naked woman or something, and if I want to integrate it into your platform, how strict you will be, and what you will, where you draw the line, what you will allow and what you will not allow to be integrated.
So if you basically import it to your land and it's not visible to the public, then you can do whatever you want there. If it's visible to the public, we're still very open to the community to talk to, so we can talk and see if it doesn't break any local rules, like let's say Slovak rules in Slovakia that you can show breasts to the public, to minors. Right.
Why Slovak?
No, because it depends on the IP where you log in, right? So we have to deal basically with every local rule. That's why the simplest for us is what's in your house, not visible to the public. That's it's your thing because it's your land. But once it gets shown to the public, we have to deal with the regulators. So we would also like talk to you and say, okay, let's make it more for everyone.
Well, this is the first time I hear something like this, but maybe you can talk a little bit about that legal part. Anyway, I had this question. One of the biggest risks for me is, one part is the item ownership, another part is the governance. So once you have a centralized company who is in charge of the governance, how does the users are able to be on the safe side? Let's say they can have some sort of free speech and say something wrong against your company, and they will be turning over, whatever. You know, is there any kind of constitution or some level of main rules which are valid also for you, not only for us?
So in regards of saying something bad about our company, we have so basically our founder came with an idea of a jail. It's a jail in virtual reality. So the administrators, they can put people in jail if they because also one thing in VR is what people discuss is the privacy of the avatars. So basically you can feel if someone comes too close to you, and for some it's very unpleasant. And there are tools that you can say, okay, I have a bubble around me, so people will not enter my small bubble, but there can be people like standing outside of the bubble and be cursing at you. That's when administrators can come in. They can just say, okay, either leave it, or if he doesn't leave it, he'll go to the virtual reality jail, and he must spend there like 1 hour just like being in the jail and looking at other people. And if he's bored and then he doesn't like the game anymore, that's again the beauty of the digital asset ownership on the token. He can go to OpenSea, to a market, and sell it. Say, okay, I don't like those guys anymore. They banned me, or if you ban him because he did it repeatedly, then he says, okay, I don't want this, and he can sell his piece of land. So again, the money he invested, he gets back. That's also like the beauty of the. That's the question before. Once you get banned in a game, right now everything is gone. Here you can still sell it. And in regards of the local rules, we have to basically follow the local rules.
Is this some sort of since when this is applicable? I don't have like is this like a global rule on the planet that VR needs to be in line with? Can we just build our parallel reality where we can do whatever we want? I mean, this is a philosophical question. Why we need to be tied to those local rules?
It's I mean the simplest example would be, I don't know, some graphic content, right, or some hate speech. It's this follows the laws of the current region that you're living in. So if you present it to the public, if you have hate speech or child pornography, something like that, this VR doesn't give you freedom to express that, right? I mean, if you have your own land, and then let's say it's something mild, like just pictures of naked women or men, then you can do it, but you cannot show it to the public, as those are the local rules, the government.
So there is this super popular game called Fortnite, and it is a normal game with its own money and ecosystem. And the money is called V-Bucks, and according to some articles, V-Bucks is currently being used for heavy money laundering. And like basically the game is centralized and the currency is centralized, but still there are some people who are using the ecosystem to launder money through it and then sell it for Bitcoin, let's say. Is this something you will also need to deal with, or is the ecosystem built on blockchain and thus you won't be able to stop anything happening like that?
So, as basically we are a virtual reality company, so this is our core business and we want to stay with that. And fortunately, there are a lot of third-party providers where we don't have to deal with the KYC, and this is really a blessing that happened in the past couple of years. So let's say the digital items we all sell through OpenSea, so they do the KYC. If there's some unregulated activity, they will be the first one to deal with it. As for our Somnium cubes, the in-game currency, again, it will be through exchanges that have a KYC policy. So we want to really focus on our core work, which is virtual reality. And now, thankfully, there are third-party providers that will be the ones to blame if something bad happens. I mean, it probably will come also to us at some point, but then again, we have the powers to block users, block IPs, and we have to deal with it probably at some point. But right now, it's on the third-party providers.
If I buy some house, like we can say for 1,000 euros, and then I sell it for 2,000 euros, I need to pay some taxes or to your city. Do you have some mayor or something like this, some infrastructure, financial?
Okay, so you would probably have to pay taxes in your country, but not to us. It's we only take a fee from the transaction. It's like a fee for basically for the contract to be written on OpenSea. So we take a small cut, which will be lower in the future. Right now it's around 7%. It's very transparent. It's written in the contract, and that's it. If you made a gain, that's like a gain, capital gain, then you have to deal with your real world tax authorities.
Is there a workaround that? So can I sell something without using OpenSea? And can I sell something anonymously?
Yes, you can. It's if you agree with someone, just like to exchange a token, it's yours and it's without a fee. It's like, but then you have to trust the other person, and he gives you the money, and then you give him the token. On OpenSea, it's all a third-party provider against like user transaction, so that's why the fee is there.
Is the decision making about the game solely on you, or will you have some kind of voting or governance mechanism for, let's say, big landlords or users who own some assets in the game to be able to vote for some changes, or will there be any political parties in the game?
Also, so Second Life showed that basically like communities will develop and then they will have their interests. This will happen like in real life. Right now we have a community that basically is on our Discord channel, so we talk to them and we implement some good ideas, we don't implement some bad ones. And very transparent voting is also something we have in mind, that it can be on a contract and we can be voted on. We definitely want to do it. Right now we want to stay flexible, really continue with our vision, but on our Discord channel we listen to the community every day, every hour.
Any more questions?
The technical question: how do you track the user position in your game? It's like in blockchain somehow, or it's centralized on the server?
We want that to be anonymous, so we don't track users. We don't even have something like a God mode where you can fly around and listen to people what they're saying. But we have a feature that is very interesting. It's called the Live Forever mode. It's already people signed up for that, and that's you pay money to be recorded on basically your avatar gets recorded, every move, everything you say, and then you can decide when you're gone, either for vacation or even if you like, I don't know, let's say die, then your avatar can still live in the virtual world, because it's like a mix of AI that we're right now working on, that can basically bring your avatar to life even if you're not there. It's a paid function, and this is the only time we record users, but then we record everything, every movement, the voice, the sound, who they met, what they did on their property. And that can recreate the avatar. But otherwise, it's all anonymous.
If I have a house, and is there some possibility then another users come to my house and they are not allowed and they go, or just you have some blockage?
Yes, you can, on your property, you can say it's public for everyone, public for your friends, or only for you. So this is, the privacy or the privacy controls are in your hands. It's also like with the avatar, how close they can go and who can visit your property. It's all in your hands.
And your users have also on your platform the businesses? I mean, it's possible to sell or rent some good of stuff for other users?
So as I showed, we have this, the headset maker, he has a store. We have a Tesla store, which is not official Tesla store, but we wanted just to showcase what's possible. And then we have a university that is building classes, and we have one community member that built a Museum of London, for example. So the idea is it's on his parcel, it's a museum, you like it, you pay 10 cents to enter, and then you can like watch a 30-minute tour, or even with him, right? His avatar will guide you and tell you about, it's an audio-visual tour of London. So basically for the world to exist and a second life show, it can exist only with a working economy. And in VR, the possibilities of a working economy are immersed there. Basically you can do anything. We already had a concert where the singer got paid, so we can sell the tickets for your concerts, and it's nothing's the limit.
If I want to sell or like have some store at your world, what do I need to do? Like, do I need to build something, or like, do I need to be a developer, or what kind of skills that I need?
So right now you can use our builder. So we have in-game builder which can be downloaded on our website. It's very simple, and then through some like textures and videos and links to your store, you can connect it somehow with your store right now. If you're a skilled developer, you can import it through the Unity SDK. You can build it outside and import it through the Unity SDK, and then basically upload the store to your piece of land. And then you can offer services and goods, or even physical goods.
Let's say if I want to run a store with weed, some other drugs, in your virtual world, will you allow access it by people from the countries where it's legal, or by anyone, or just how are you going to provision the rights?
Yeah, we would IP block it. So if you live in California, Colorado, then you can run it, and people from there can buy and sell it. But if you live somewhere else, it's not possible, or it shouldn't.
What if this is happening inside your parcel, and you grant access just to those individuals who gets somehow the access into your friendships? Like, because the dark market business is the first thing which I would build there for just to go into there and buy and meet people. Is this possible? This is completely out?
Just a follow-up question: if it's possible, like, do you want it to be there or no?
So since this is recorded, so it's not possible. But we can talk after this is over.
Maybe I have another question regarding. So you showed how you can like integrate CryptoKitties to put it into your VR world. So if I want to have another NFT project put there, How does it work? What is the process that I need to undergo?
So this is something we were working on, basically on the script that puts a 2D picture on a 3D body, and we have it for CryptoKitties right now. There are a lot of developers that can do it. So if you have a project like yours, you can either contact someone or maybe talk with us and then see if this is possible. But technologically, it's not simple. It takes time, but it's doable.
Some other questions? Somebody?
So just a general question about your views on the future of gaming or games and their business models. So it seems like, from what you said, it seems like you think that the new games will be formed around tokens or around digital items rather than the vice versa case, which is basically the case right now. Is there anything else you think that will change in business model of games and gaming ecosystems?
Being a VR company, I think VR is also the next platform for gaming. Because we like a couple of weeks ago, Half-Life announced that they'll be, or the company making Half-Life, Valve, announced they're making Half-Life in VR. So all the major projects, AAA studios, are also remaking their classics for virtual reality because the immersiveness is just there. There's still the barrier of entry to have the headset, which is a big barrier right now and might be in the future too. But the gaming companies will have to at least try it out and see if it works right now. If not, then in a couple of years again.
Do you think we are living in virtual reality now?
I think Elon Musk from Tesla had discussed it a couple of times, and I don't know. We'll see. We were building this, and let's see what happens next.
Something else? I had a few more questions. I just need to remember.
If I won't go to this world, I need to pay something. I won't just like walk and see how it is.
So it's free to play. It always will be free to play. The concerts that we organize will be free, or some events that we organize will be free. You don't have to buy a piece of land. Just can walk, talk to the people, and enjoy yourself. And you can also visit attractions or experiences that are free from other users, because not everyone will charge money for their experiences, to showcase what they can do and just to have to let people have a good time. So it's free to play. Yes, they can charge. So basically, because if you say you buy a piece of land for $100 and you're selling your hotel, your museum experience for 10 cents, you only need 1,000 people to get it back. So that's the beauty of it and the idea of it. It's micropayments, or I mean, you can charge $1 if it's really good, right? Or any sum. But the idea is to people, like, let them make money in virtual reality, and they're already making money now. We have community managers that give tours to the people. We have those concert singers that were singing, and they're already earning money in virtual reality.
And how many people is playing this game now?
So it's 25,000 downloads, and the core community is 500 people. If we have a concert, it's 50. I mean, those numbers sound low, but if you compare it with the industry, we're kind of average. There are a couple games or worlds that they have around 1 million downloads, but it's more like they're not that enjoyable. For some they are, but the industry as a whole is rising, and it's getting more downloads, because the hardware was basically the main barrier for this to enjoy. Now this year the first headset came out that is really enjoyable for for people because it doesn't have a wire to the computer. It's wireless and it's fairly priced. It's not that cheap, but it's doable. So the future of VR is exponential.
So we mentioned Decentraland as you're one of the competitors. So can you talk maybe briefly what are the other projects that are competing with you and maybe how you differ compared to them?
So there's High Fidelity that we showed we are cooperating with. It's the project from Philip Rose from Second Life. They're based in California. Then there's Nose VR. It's a Czech company. They do something similar. They have instances, and you can also it's more for the skilled developers that can enjoy that. There is Sansar. There is VRChat that is around 1 million downloads. It's the most famous one, but they have a lot of issues with avatars because they have a lot of IP infringement because there are people running around as Mickey Mouses, and if Disney comes then and says you cannot do it, right? It's our copyright, it's our trademark. They have to shut down, so they have an issue with that. And there are probably 2 other projects that are Rec Room is one project. There are others, but it's very cartoonish. So every world has a different feel to it, and our idea is to build a big metaverse that everyone can connect. And I mean, we hope for a future where like at least 2, 3, 4 worlds will be there, and then you can enjoy.
That means Hollywood studios now need to watch all games like for avatars, yeah?
Yeah, I mean it was like with YouTube back in the days, right? If you were they had copyrighted materials, they didn't care for 2 years. They started to care. It took 2 years before everyone was taking it down. So right now in VR is a very it's really like a parallel world that no one is watching or little people are watching. But that's why we also we're kind of preparing ourselves for this to happen in our world. And this is also the beauty of the token, right? If we ban someone's avatar, then he can resell it and hope someone else buys it, or he just can reprogram the item behind the token and then come up with a new avatar that doesn't breach any rules.
So you mentioned a few projects that are competing with you. Do all of them use in-game currency, their own currency, or do they all of them like track the ownership of the digital items on blockchain?
No, it's basically us, Decentraland, but they don't have VR, and Neos VR, they have a digital currency, but they don't have the land ownership and the item ownership. And with the VRBA, the Virtual Reality Blockchain Alliance, we wanted basically to put together those worlds and make one big metaverse. And it will be really hard for companies that don't have it right now to basically roll back the business idea, the business plan, and build the ecosystem for the blockchain economy. This will be really hard.
So you are using Ethereum, right? This ERC721 standard. And do you think Ethereum is the blockchain where everything is going to happen, like in terms of ownership, tracking of ownership of digital items, or do you think, or like do you as a company kind of make steps to be prepared for other blockchains as well?
I mean, right now it's the go-to platform, right, for blockchain gaming. So why not go with the best one and the most popular one? Then again, we're watching it, and if an opportunity arises somewhere else, we work very hard to make the switch for the users as painful as possible, and especially that they don't lose any money in the process, in the transaction.
Actually, Loom is working in different blockchains on interoperability. That means if you are working with the Loom, it's good for you because there will be more blockchain.
Oh, sorry, what's the question?
No question.
Okay, just yes, that's right. I mean, we can switch providers. We're flexible in that, and basically our users are the highest priority, and who supervise us with the service. It's I mean, we love our partners, but we're flexible in that.
Anything else? Somebody? Very exhausting Q&A session. Okay, so if that's all, then I think we can close it and move into the informal stage of the meetup. Cool, so thank you very much for attending, and hope to see you soon in Progress Bar and or other meetups of Blockchain Slovakia. So thank you for coming.